Right, lots of carol singing because we've only got this week. Only got this week to practice because next week is the Christmas service. So you need to remember next week to bring your mums, dads, grands, grandpas, aunties, uncles, anything you like, everybody, MD in your street, your dog, anything. No. Right, so plenty of singing again this week, loads of singing. So less talking, more singing. Let's get through it, and then at the end we'll do a bit of practice just to make sure we're okay. Right, first one, Hark the Herald. A little bit quiet, but I saw lots of lips moving. Maybe this one's a bit better since we know it. Since it's one of the most famous carols. Let's hear you a bit louder this time. Right, more carols. Good singing, good. The story of Christmas. We'll try and get through these to give us plenty of time to practice as well. There was no room in the inn. He was in a stable. What was the name of the town? Bethlehem. Not Christmassy, but let's have a quick fly through of this just to refresh our memories. Okay then. Well done, that's fabulous. Excellent. Well done, super. Need to think of something else. Right, I don't know if you know the tune to this one, it's a really strange tune. And another one. Maybe I'll sing it out today. all together. Behold, God is my salvation. Will trust and not be afraid. Isaiah chapter 12, verse 2 again. Good. Sing this one. Watch time. This story kind of falls in between, or at the beginning. We went back a wee bit. We're going to think about David. And we're going to think of David when he was younger, a little bit younger. And when David was this age, David's brothers were up fighting, and they're fighting against the Philistines. We spoke about Philistines when we spoke about Samson. And the Philistines were what to God's people? Sophie? Enemies to God's people. And God raised up different kings and different people to fight with the Philistines and to bring victories to the people of God. Well, David's brothers were up here, and I think this is David's brothers here, and David's dad pulled David in. David was watching sheep. He was a shepherd. He was watching his dad's sheep in the fields, and his dad brought him in and says, listen, David, I want you to take up, oh no, I went too quick, wrong one. I want you to take up some loaves, some bread, some barley, and some cheese for the officers of the army, and take stuff to your brother and see that your brothers are okay and see how they're getting on in this war against the Philistines. I want you to go up and see. So David did that. He got somebody to look after his sheep, and away he went up to where the army was encamped. Now, the Bible tells us that the army was on one side and the Philistines were on the other side, and there's a big valley in between, so they could see each other across the hill, but they weren't close enough. But they were in battle, and maybe they were just kind of psyching each other out just to see who was going to make the first move. Well, the Philistines, they maybe made the first move, because in the Philistine army there was this big character here. Look, he was probably quite a tall man, and these were probably quite tall men being soldiers as well, but look at this guy here. He's massive. Anybody know his name? Charlotte? Goliath. He was. Goliath was a big man. The Bible actually gives us dimensions how big he was. I tell you what, he was massive. He was massive. And so, they called him Samson. Goliath, he used to come out and he used to shout up to the army, send your best man down. Come and fight me. And if your best man comes down to fight me and he wins, then we'll be your servants. But if I beat your best man, then you will be your servants. You will work under us, and you'll be our servants. And so, up to this point, before David got there, nobody was brave enough to go and fight this big man. Look at the size of him. Look at the size of him. Look, nearly as big as mine. He was massive. And he had all his armour on, and look at the size of his shield. In fact, his shield was probably about twice the size of you. Never mind the size of him. Look at his shield. Massive. And so nobody was willing to go down and fight him until David came up. David, young shepherd boy, and he came into the camp and came in with his bread. And while he was in the camp, he heard Goliath, and maybe he saw Goliath, and Goliath had come out and did his usual, shouted up, send your best man down. Well, David said, you know what? I'll go down and fight him. Maybe that's what he was saying there. Look at the reaction there. He's like, you fight him? Oh. Well, they went in to see Saul, the king, and he says, I'll go and fight Goliath. He told them that when he was out in the fields looking after the sheep, there came a lion, there came a bear, And David managed, and one of the animals took one of David's sheep, one of the lambs, and David fought the lion, and he managed to rescue the lamb out of the mouth of the lion and the bear. And he slew the lion and the bear. He said, look, I've done this. I'm going down to fight Goliath. And if I go to fight Goliath, I'm not just going down on my own strength. I'm going down on the strength of the Lord and with the help of God. So I'll go down and fight him. Well, it must be a brave man, Saul, to take David's word for it. And at that point, I think we can see that Saul really trusted in God and that God had sent David. Because everything, the whole lot was lying on David's shoulders. Because if David was defeated by Goliath, then the whole of the army were then the Philistines' servants. So, okay, Saul said, right, David, here you go. You can go down and fight Goliath. So he got his helmet, and he got his armour, and he got his chainmail, and whatever else. And David said, I can't wear this. This is no good. I haven't tried and tested this. There's no way I can wear all this armour. I'll tell you what I'll do. I know what I've tested and tried. He says, I'll take my staff, maybe just a branch that he'd shaped into a staff that he'd walk along with when he was out in the shepherd. And he says, I'll take my sling. Has anybody ever seen a sling? Yeah. Just probably a bit of material, fold it up a wee bit. You can put stuff in it and throw it. Not quite a cat, that's more like a catapult. This would just be a sling. So it'd literally be like a bit of material, and you'd fold it in half and you could put something in it, and you could sling it around and let go of one end, and it would come out. He says, I'll take my sling and my staff. And he went down to the river. He took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 smooth stones. Big Goliath, little David, 5 stones. Do you think that's... Would you like to go out and face a big man like Goliath with 5 stones and a staff? I'm not sure. Well, out he went. And there you can see the difference in the size there. In fact, look, there's a shield there. He had a shield bearer. Somebody lifted his shield for him. Look, you can hardly see his head. Massive. I wonder what Goliath was thinking when he said, send down your best man, send them down. And David comes along with his sling, his wee bag with his stones in it and his sling. A good-looking young shepherd boy. As the Bible tells it, he's a really good-looking young man. And Goliath thought, here I'm, big rough soldier against this one. No danger. Well, the Bible tells it David saw Goliath and he started to run towards him, and he took 1 stone, he had 5, he took 1 stone, put it in his sling. Oh, I don't even know if Goliath had the chance to say, oh. The stone hit him right in the forehead, right between the eyes. The Bible tells us that it sunk into his head. It was guided by God, it sunk into his head, and Goliath went down. On his face, down. The best man, the biggest man, down. 1 sling, 1 stone in his sling, and he was down. Well, David must have been quite brave, because although Goliath was there and Goliath was massive and he went to fight Goliath, the other army, the rest of the Philistine army were all standing behind Goliath, and they were all thinking, nobody will ever beat Goliath, we'll stand behind Goliath. As soon as David slew Goliath, as soon as Goliath hit the deck, look at these guys, can you see what they're doing? They're out of there, gone. The army's fled, they ran away. Well, David had told Goliath before, when he went down at the start, that he would slay him and he would cut off his head. Well, David didn't have a sword on him, did he? He only had what? Sling and 5 stones. Well, when Goliath hit the deck, when he was down with a stone between the eyes, the Bible says that he took Goliath's own sword out his sheath. Goliath wasn't going to bother him again. But small David against big Goliath, it just shows us what God can do. God can guide, God can lead, God can give strength, God can direct even the smallest of stones when it's for his purpose and it's in his will. And so, if David could put his faith and trust in God to do something like that, defeat a big, seasoned, experienced soldier, a massive man like Goliath, God can do great things even today with you, with me, with whoever puts their faith and trust in him. If you're saved and you let God lead you in your life, you could do great things for God if you let him, just like David did. Be it of your faith. If David went down there thinking, I'm just going down here myself, there's nobody going to be able to help me, I think I might be able to... Nah, I don't think David would have slain Goliath, unless he had trust in God, which he did have, and he slew Goliath. So that's David. Remember the story of David. See you next week.